My name is Brenda Schrey, and I am an organic sheep farmer. I raise sheep here for both meat and for fiber, and we are a completely pasture-based system, so they don't get fed grains to fatten them in the barn. They are actually out on pasture. The reason why I did get into farming and I've chosen to farm organically, agroecologically, regeneratively, that was done because it's the way that I could do something to fight the climate crisis. A way of producing food and producing clothing that don't destroy the world that we live in. One thing that we absolutely prioritize as an Ontario farm is that we keep all of our processing as close as possible. For us, we're really happy that Wave Fiber Mill exists because we can send our entire clip to them and we don't have to pre-wash things. We just have to skirt the fleeces after shearing, and then Wave Fiber Mill can handle them until it's been spun. And for our lambskins that we also get processed, that's all done at Atlas Tanning in Blythe. So we're really actually quite lucky to have tanning services and more than one spinning service in Ontario. One of the things that we hear the most from people is, oh my goodness, it's so expensive to process my wools. Our Canadian processing is so expensive. Because we're comparing to the fast fashion world, we're comparing to other markets where, there's no minimum wage, there's no idea of a living wage, where the use of certain chemicals is not regulated as well. And so my pushback against people who think that Canadian processing is expensive is to say that, you're buying this product at what you consider to be a higher price tag is because you're paying people and not exploiting them. Just to give you an idea, like the very base cost of getting one skein of yarn, so we're talking 100 grams of yarn, is in the $15 range. So that $15 is just the cost to the mill. They're paying everyone a good wage. The mill owner certainly does not have a super yacht somewhere. We're talking people who are living very middle class, or if not lower middle class lives. And I like to point that out to people because I don't think people think about that, the externalized costs of everything, like the exploitation that happens in other countries. And so I do think that when we talk about supporting all of our local processors and just being part of a very local economy, this is the one place we can actually make a difference. We can choose to support our communities or to just make more profits for faceless people.
My name's Dawn McClintock. I am with the Viking reenactment group called Sig Triggering Vikings of Ontario, here representing the fiber arts portion of our display. My lineage goes back to Shetland, so I come from Viking heritage and I still have family there who rear sheep. I have a deep connection to the fiber arts. I came to the Fergus medieval fair probably 5 years ago, and I saw these guys set up and I thought, wow, this is really cool. It's my heritage, and they didn't really have a fiber arts thing with their camp, so I thought, well, that's something I could definitely bring to the camp. I think we're seeing a new renaissance to the importance of wool and what it brings to our society, be it historic or modern day mills. We're seeing this revivance of the wool scene. We are constantly learning from each other. Like I work with people that are interpreters for the Royal Ontario Museum, so we're always researching and contacting museums to find out is this the right way? What was available? What do we have as far as grave finds to prove this was the way that things were stitched? We're constantly educating ourselves on what resources we can find, and it's just a really great community. We're all in this together. From a historical standpoint, our goal here is to debunk a lot of the myth that the Vikings TV series showed versus this is the reality of fiber arts, would have been back then. So we're really here to debunk. It's been challenging. I certainly have a greater appreciation for what people went through during Viking times, how long it took to produce something. A garment took, months, a sail took 2 to 3 years. It's really helped me to understand where our roots came from and how important textiles were to our traditions.
Hi, Hi, I'm Miranda Holmes, and this is String Theory Yarn Shop in Fergus, Ontario, and I'm the owner here. I learned to crochet as a teenager and, kind of left it for a while, and then it picked up again in my adult years. And I started teaching classes at a store in Guelph, and then COVID hit. And in the meantime, I was daydreaming about, I just love being at that yarn shop, and it would be great to have my own yarn shop. And I opened in October of 2020. It's a big community hub, so I have our drop-in knitting on Thursday afternoons and Friday evenings. We have classes here all the time, and then we've recently started having some local sewers do some sewing lessons here as well to just try and broaden the scope of what we can do here. I run also the Fergus Fiber Festival with a good friend of mine, Andrea Lacing, who is the hand dyer of Fergus Yarn Co., and so I stock her products here. We run it on the street, and so that's also a unique thing. Most fiber festivals are held in indoor venues, but the value to having it on the street is you get people who wouldn't necessarily come to a yarn festival or fiber festival come to check it out. And so there's an opportunity for teaching and for people to get interested. Megan, who you met, she did a flax demonstration, and people are just blown away by the whole process of growing and processing the flax to turn it into linen. And then just the hand weavers and spinners. And anyone we can get to do demonstrations and provide learning opportunities is amazing, because now it becomes a family-friendly event where you can bring your kids, and it's not just for knitters, crocheters, spinners. It's a little bit of something for everyone, and if you really don't want to know anything, you can go into all the shops. But